Okay, good morning. My name is Kristen Wong-Tam, and I'm the Member of Provincial Parliament for Toronto Centre and the official opposition critic for 2SLGBTQIA issues. Pride Month in Ontario is now underway. For the month of June, our great province will be awash in rainbow colors and community celebrations, large and small, across the province. Yet this year, Pride Month feels different, more fearful and precarious. This is why I'm here today with Christian leaders and clergy, people of great faith who are rising to meet the challenge of today. They represent worshipers and congregations from across Toronto and the province. In Canada, we often are warned about the dangers of importing hate from the U.S. Sometimes we are complacent, believing that Canada is somehow immune to hate and bigotry. In the last few years, we've seen a record number of attacks against the 2SLGBT people, especially transgendered youth who are seeing this in record numbers in America. In fact, the American Civil Liberties Union is tracking 491 anti-LGBTQ pieces of legislation in the U.S. Here in Canada, Statistics Canada has hate crimes rising. 67% increase in incidents linked to a person's religion. Last year, a new report showed a significant jump in hate crimes against the Muslim and Jewish communities. In 2021, hate crimes based on sexual orientation in Ontario has now gone up to 107% more. It's no coincidence that religious fundamentalists, white supremacists, fascist groups, extreme rights groups are targeting these minority communities. In the dark hearts and clouded minds of those targeting racial minorities and the 2SLGBTQI communities, hate is hate. We have seen escalating violence and vitriol being directed at queer communities, especially the trans community, as well as drag artists. Acts of hateful homophobia and transphobia are showing up in schools, libraries, as well as restaurants, municipal councils, places of worship. Pride celebrations across Ontario are seeing costs for security and insurance go up as they receive threats of violence and disruption. A small minority of publicly funded Catholic school boards are refusing to fly the rainbow flag during Pride Month. 10 years ago, the Catholic School Board in York Region was one of the first in Ontario to comply with the Accepting Schools Act, which requires school boards to prevent and address inappropriate behavior or bullying amongst the students. On May 30th, they breached their obligation in creating a safe school and safe schools when their trustees voted against the recommendation from their own committee to not raise the rainbow flag. For the past 2 years in June, the Niagara Catholic District School Board raised the rainbow flag over their headquarters. Now this year, on June 20th, the school board trustees will be voting to remove the rainbow flag against the recommendation of their senior staff. We have a responsibility to speak up, as we have done so before, and this time the stakes are higher than ever before, given the mainstreaming of anti-2SLGBTQI laws that are coming across America. Of course, we know Canada is not immune, and we are, in particular, are concerned about that, which is why we're here today. You'll be hearing from a number of esteemed speakers, but behind me is a number of clergy people and Christian leaders. I will introduce all of them at the end of the press conference, but for now I welcome Barbara Dobrowolski, the president of the Ontario English Catholic School Teachers, to say a few words. Following Barbara, we'll be hearing from Reverend Jeffrey Dale, minister of Justice and Faith Formation for the Shining Waters region of the United Church of Canada, and Reverend June Joplin, Associate Pastor, Programs and Congregational Care at the Metropolitan Church of Toronto. We are calling on the government to uphold the Education Act and Accepting Safe Schools Act to create safe schools for all by raising the rainbow flags across all publicly funded schools in Ontario. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Dobrowolski, and I'm the president of the Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association. On behalf of the 45,000 Catholic teachers across Ontario who I represent, during this amazing time of celebration that is Pride Month, I'd like to say to all 2SLGBTQIA plus students, educators, and communities, know that you are valued, you are loved, and you are supported. Each and every day, Catholic teachers strive to create a safe, welcoming environment in our schools. We imbue our classrooms and schools with respect and inclusivity in keeping with our faith and belief that everyone is deserving of God's love. But further to this, we need a government and school boards that will work collaboratively with the 2SLGBTQIA plus community, as well as with educators, students, and families to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone in our schools, especially 2SLGBTQIA plus and other equity-deserving communities. While the vast majority of Catholic school boards in Ontario already fly the pride flag, there are still a small number that do not. Today, Catholic teachers add the strength of our voice to urge all Catholic school boards to fly the pride flag. Displaying the pride flag outside our schools is a visual representation and indication to students, educators, families, everyone, of our commitment to promoting respect, human rights, and a culture in our schools that celebrates diversity and contributes to creating a more inclusive society. Flying the pride flag sends a strong public message that we, as a Catholic community, are committed to supporting and advancing the rights of 2SLGBTQIA and equity-deserving communities within our publicly funded Catholic education system and beyond. Actions speak more powerfully than words, and the time for action is now.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Jeffrey Dale, as Kristen has pointed out, and I'm the Minister for Justice and Faith Formation for Shining Waters Regional Council and Canadian Shield Regional Council in the United Church of Canada, an area that covers from Toronto to Thunder Bay. My pronouns are they, them, and he, him, and I'm here today to share with you the ecumenical Christian unity statement supporting the 2S LGBTQIA community, now signed by over 500 faith leaders from across the province of Ontario. We are joined by several clergy here today from a variety of denominations. I would like to state that as clergy, we are nonpartisan. I know within my own denomination, we have a diversity of political ideologies and thoughts. Today, we are here to encourage Christian unity across the province of Ontario in the hopes of supporting the vitality of life for 2S LGBTQI people. Personally, I grew up in the village of Milverton, Ontario. I was fortunate to have parents who supported, cared for, and loved all aspects of myself. However, being gay, I, like so many others, experienced harassment, assault, both verbal and physical, and hate-filled rhetorics. I was told I was not worthy of love or life by others, and yes, this included the clergy in my hometown. I am grateful, though, to say today and share with you today that the Pastor Sonia, the current minister at St. Paul's United Church in Milverton, is amongst the 500 plus people who have signed this unity statement. Things do change. From Sarnia to Marathon, from Capreol to St. Catharines, from Toronto to Dunnville, faith leaders, rural and urban alike across a dozen denominations have come together to proclaim that people who are 2S LGBTQI are created in God's image and deserving of love, respect, and acceptance. That we are committed to respectful and compassionate dialogue as we seek to bridge differences, foster understanding, and work towards reconciliation, knowing that unity does not require a uniformity of belief. We who sign this statement are committed to embodying the love, compassion, and justice of Jesus Christ in our interactions with 2S LGBTQI siblings. We are striving to be witnesses to the inclusive and transformative power of the gospel. And together, today, we raise our voices and let our actions contribute to a world where individuals of all sexual orientations and all gender identities are embraced, celebrated, and afforded equal rights and opportunities. Thank you.
Well, grace and peace, beloved, and good morning. Thank you to MPP Wong-Tam for their work in helping to organize today and bring this group of clergy together. And thank you to the hundreds of clergy who have added their voices to our unity statement. Throughout the entire history of religion, with all of its immense impact on humanity, people of faith have been trying to grasp the divine. What is God, we wonder? And so much has been said, so many claims have been made, so many lines have been drawn. It's too much to take in, even for the most learned clergy and mystics. But in my Christian tradition, one of our oldest, clearest, and most compelling confessions about God is also the simplest. What is God? Well, we can answer in one word: love. God is love. St. John the Evangelist wrote in his first letter some 1900 years ago. God is love. A love that drives out fear and hatred. A love that invites us to flourish in comprehensive aliveness. A love that is always inviting us to take the next step towards becoming our truest selves. And a love that celebrates as we figure out who we really are. We discover our true selves in love, wrote the 20th century Catholic monk and poet Thomas Merton. Now, as someone who professes Christian faith and as an ordained reverend, as one upon whom the church has laid her hands saying, you can speak for us, as a grateful member of the 2SLGBTQIA+ community, and as a transgender woman, I want to offer my queer siblings my heart and my solidarity. I want to affirm that you are exactly who God created you to be, that the Creator takes delight in you as you live your fullness, as you discover your identity, and as you become more completely you. I offer these words of love and affirmation, not in spite of my Christian faith, but as an act of Christian faith. In the name of the one who said, I have come that you may have life, life in all of its abundance. I offer these words as a person of faith and as a faith leader because too many like me misuse faith as a justification to condemn, marginalize, and incite violence upon the 2SLGBTQIA+ community. Now, no matter how loudly these hateful voices are amplified, they are not the only voices. To those religiously motivated propagators of hatred, your siblings in faith are here, and we are all over the province. We are all over this country. Our numbers grow and grow and grow, and we are united in love. And we are praying for your repentance, praying that you will listen to God, the God of love who invites you to seek reconciliation. For God is love. God is an everlasting love that frees us to become the people we are meant to be. Thanks be to God, and thank you.
Thank you so much to our speakers for sharing such wise counsel with us and to deliver us a message of unity and hope. I recognize that this is a very serious matter. Pride Month is and has been for many years a joyful time in our community, and I want our community to reflect upon that and embrace that. But we also recognize that we have more work to do. For those who may have questions for us in the media studio, this is now a time for you to ask those questions. I would also, at the end, like to introduce everyone who's on the platform with us today. But at first, I will take some questions, and we will take the questions of speakers.
There are no questions on the telephone line.
Maybe one question for you. This is just came to my mind right now, but are you considering doing some awareness around these issues in Catholic schools? Is that something you want to do in response to what happened?
I think that question will probably be best answered by Barb, who's the president of OECTA.
Thank you for the question. We are, I can speak for the Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association, and we've been working very hard at raising awareness of 2SLGBTQIA inclusivity, diversity among our members, trying to ensure that they are well equipped to make sure that our schools are welcoming, and we'll continue to expand upon that as much as we can. I think that teachers are very open and receptive to all of the training that we've been providing, and we're going to continue on that path to provide it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. What I'd like to add to Barb's answer is that on June the 8th at 1:15, students in the York Catholic District School Board are planning a walkout, a rainbow theme walkout. And I've mentioned this before in my previous remarks, not necessarily at this press conference, but I think it's worth noting, is that students have oftentimes been leading the conversation when it comes to creating safe spaces, in ensuring that that they are actively taking an approach on countering bullying. And I think that this is just another example that if the trustees, the political voice of the the York Catholic District School Board does not uphold its obligation in the Accepting Safe Schools Act, students seem to be taking that on themselves. And I suspect that they're going to get louder and louder. If there are no other questions, yes.
I'm just wondering if this opens up the conversation to the idea that maybe there shouldn't be a separated school board. Maybe there should just be one singular school board that is, secular in nature. I'm wondering if you or anybody else who wants to kind of touch on that idea would speak to that.
Yeah, I think Barb just mentioned that she's happy to respond to that.
Right now, and I'll speak on behalf of the publicly funded Catholic school system, there are over 550,000 students in our schools, and clearly parents are choosing to send their children to faith-filled schools because they see the value of an education that has faith as a basis. And so I think that I also want to emphasize that of the 29 Catholic school boards, 23 are flying the pride flag in our schools. So I think that this is a small minority that who aren't. I think that Catholic schools are doing a great job. They're a pillar of education in Ontario, and it would be very disruptive to think that defunding them would serve anybody. So I think that, the continuation of publicly funded faith-filled schools is an important part of our Ontario education system that is highly regarded around the world.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that statement, and I think that response is certainly one that is quite appropriate today. The focus of our press conference is to ensure that we can protect students, and this includes 2SLGBTQI students, the teachers, as well as their families at the Catholic school boards. But we recognize that it's not just Catholic school boards, but right across Ontario, we want to be able to send a message of hope and unity, especially during Pride Month. I want to recognize the clergy that are here with us today. And I think it's important for me to also just speak to the fact that Reverend Jeffrey Dale had mentioned that over 500 clergy people sign this letter, this unity statement. This represents at least 70 municipalities in Ontario, from Toronto to Marathon, Sarnia to Ottawa, and everything in between, and at least 12 denominations represented out of the six largest mainstream churches, 5 of them represented in the signing of this unity statement. That includes the United Church, the Anglican, the Presbyterian, the Baptist, and the Lutheran, as well as some of the smaller denominations. Those who are with us in the studio today are from the Metropolitan Community Church, the United Church of Canada, as well as the Anglican Church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church, the Presbyterian Church, and many more who are not in the studio because we can't fit 500 people here today, obviously. But I know that they are very keenly watching this conversation, and it's worth noting that the 500 names, the signatories, were gathered in about 48 hours. So this is just the beginning, and hopefully more to come. Thank you very much.